On Friday, Chris Cantwell pleaded guilty to assault and battery for macing people last year in Charlottesville. He was banished from the state of Virginia for 5 years and given 8 hours to leave. Cantwell became notorious at last year's chaotic Unite the Right rally.
When we are not able to have civil liberties like the First Amendment,
the rally's organizer, Jason Kessler, was chased out of town by a mob. But that hasn't stopped him from planning an anniversary rally.
He has blood on his hands. We will defend our community from Nazi scum like Jason Kessler.
So who is Jason Kessler? And why should anyone follow his lead again? It's a question white nationalists admit they didn't ask themselves the first time around.
I had no idea who Jason Kessler was on August 11th, 2017, right? The guy's been calling me up asking me for help, but Jason is completely incapable of handling this, and it's way too fucking dangerous. And so, you know, while going back to that park might be a worthwhile endeavor, going back there under the leadership of Jason Kessler while everybody bails on him because he's incompetent is a goddamn suicide mission, so I don't think it's a good idea.
Kessler's a 34-year-old man who has strong opinions about society, but has never quite found his place in it.
Damn. College, career, marriage, kids. Was I good enough? Did I mean something? Captain, can you hear me? Check, 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 check.
He lives in Charlottesville and wasn't always a far-right extremist. He says he attended one Occupy Wall Street event and voted for Obama.
I supported Obama in 2008. I'll admit that. I even volunteered for him. But these people are so radical. They're so radical in their hatred for white people, their hatred for Christians, their hatred for men.
He told This American Life his politics were shaped by his belief that a woman was hired over him for a job.
I was pretty angry because I felt like I had been picked over for reasons not having anything to do with my qualifications, but having to do with identity variables.
According to allegations in court papers, over the last 7 years, he's only had a job twice, for 5 months apiece. During the Trump campaign, he started posting alt-right memes. Around the same time, he became obsessed with Charlottesville City Councilman Wes Bellamy, demanding he be fired. He dug up some of Bellamy's old tweets to portray him as a symbol of anti-white racism.
Wes Bellamy is a black supremacist and a rape fetishist, and among other things, Wes Bellamy...
You asked me what are my initial thoughts of him. I think a white supremacist. I think a domestic terrorist. But I also think someone who has a mental health disability. He likes attention. He wants to try and invoke some kind of fear, and it really threatens him because he thinks that black people or people of color have taken what he believes to be should only be for white people.
His campaign against Bellamy caught the attention of the alt-right. Kessler's Unite the Right rally was hyped by all corners of the white supremacist internet. But the event was a disaster, disbanded by police before activists gave a single speech. The governor called a state of emergency, and 3 people died. Then, at the exact moment the movement was under massive international media scrutiny, Kessler tweeted that the counter-protester who was killed, Heather Heyer, deserved it. Then he blamed the tweet on Ambien. His allies denounced it.
Jews will not replace us!
Last year, the alt-right wanted to show that it could move from the internet into the real world. But it did so quickly that it had to rely on some guys who turned out to be not so reliable. Cantwell was loyal to Kessler longer than other alt-right leaders, before calling him an idiot. Richard Spencer broke from Kessler after a disagreement about holding a press conference the day after Unite the Right.
Hey, listen,
and he openly feuded with Eli Mosley, who helped him organize Charlottesville, over who was to blame for poor security.
They're like, oy vey, this bad publicity. I gotta do something about that. So let's make a beep, 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 like 100 tweets about how Jason is funded by a white Muslim. Jason is Jewish is what Eli said. And I want to be clear. I'm not. But if my grandmother was Jewish and I was 1/8 Jewish, I don't care. Fuck you, you Nazi LARPer.
But now Kessler wants to hold another rally, despite the lack of support.
We have a very different plan and agenda this year, and that is not to associate ourselves with extreme elements and push hate against other groups. This is about white rights and the fact that white people need to have representation in this country just like other groups do.
He wanted it to be in Charlottesville, but the city denied him a permit. He's appealing that decision Tuesday. If he fails, he says he'll hold the rally in D.C., but it's not clear who exactly would show up. Kessler did not respond to multiple requests for comment.